This is me winning a badminton tournament 7 years ago. And then, when the world needed me the most, I vanished. I spent a lot of my time playing competitive badminton, from high school badminton to collegiate tournaments and more. And while it was to compete, there was also more of a team or just a friendly camaraderie, and it was really nice to just see people that I knew and hang out with them at each tournament. But many of the tournaments were just exhausting, and I started to feel burnt out. Not because of the sport itself or the physical implications, but mainly just the scheduling, where I would have to stay for a one-day tournament from 8 a.m. to 12 a.m. So naturally, I decided to commit to casual play until now. I've never really thought about badminton tournaments since then until I made this channel and started making more content around badminton. Because content is life, and life is content. So when I was asked by a friend and badminton coach to play a tournament, I really couldn't say no. Like, I actually couldn't say no because we signed up after the deadline and there was no way to get out of it. So after 7 years, can I, Badminton Matoka, win a badminton tournament? Okay, scratch that. Realistically, can I, Badminton Matoka, win a game in a badminton tournament? That is what we're going to find out today. Let's go. Today is Tuesday, and we're gonna do our singular practice before the actual tournament. I think regardless of how many times we actually practice together, like, one is perfectly fine because we kind of know each other's playing styles and we've played with each other in the past. But I also kind of want to take it easy today, not really overstrain myself. I want to perform well, right? And so I'm taking every precaution that I can, which I wouldn't have done when I was younger either. I just would have played it. Like, the only thing that I don't want to do is crash out in the very first round. And I think even if we play some really close games in the first round, that'll be fine for me too. But I'm hoping we can at least get one win under our belt that isn't a cons game. But I will update you in a bit and see how we're vibing. Oh, I'm dead. So unfortunately, there is no footage from our practice session. I think it was a little more important to just focus on the practice and make sure that our skills and kind of our formations and our rotation aligns. There definitely were a few things that I noticed during the practice session. Thinking about how to prepare and play at the tournament, I definitely wanted to start out with a full-on attacking, high-speed style and kind of almost outpace the opponents. If you saw the new scratch pairing at the China Open of Fikri and Alfian, that's definitely what one of their strategies was in order to win the whole tournament as an unseeded pair, as a new pair in general. Making sure that they did not give the lift very often and everything was drives, smashes, and them being on offense instead of playing a more defensive style. But my partner was saying that when playing that kind of style too, like, it feels like I'm trying to get winners on my own instead of making more executive shots to set him up when he's in the front. But I think we pretty much established our formation as a front back, me being back, him more or less playing front, with some forms of rotation, but trying to keep up the attack. So that's the game plan that we're going for, at least. But thoughts before the tournament, because I don't know how filming is going to go. But going into it, what are my feelings? Not necessarily nervousness or anything like that. It has been over 7 years since my last tournament. Oddly, I feel much more prepared compared to any of the other tournaments I've played in my life. I think after the first game, things will go a little more smoothly. It's just the hurdle of, oh, I've never played this person before. I need to take the first 10 or 15 points to figure out their style, or even the first game. And yeah, that's the only time I'm playing with Dan before the actual tournament. And so the best I could do was to stay fit and make sure that I'm eating well and healthy to prepare for the tournament, since we still had a couple days before we were even gonna get on court. And then it was the day of the tournament. Honestly, I felt like I was going to have more nerves than I personally do right now, but the thing is that we don't have our first match until 7:30 p.m. So it's a little after 3 right now. So I've been working. It's a Friday. I've been doing work. I've been doing some job application. Like, I'm just chilling, right? Playing our C's game today, so it's not the higher level Bs. Not really. Cs is really kind of a up in the air category. I also think we just need to stay calm, carry on, but just keep it chill and treat it more just like a recreational game instead of something that has more stress upon it. And while I warm up and stretch for the tournament, I guess it would be good to talk about the levels of badminton tournaments and how it kind of works. So for those of you unfamiliar with how badminton tournaments work, especially in America, here's a really quick breakdown. When you sign up for a tournament, they have a bunch of different levels that you can choose from. Most of them have more or less the same setup. This specific tournament had opens, A, B, C, D, and E. Now, opens are for anyone to join, but it's specifically more for the pro players. So people who have been playing internationally, do a lot of training, and can keep up with that level. So I made my own little acronyms for each level, which kind of make it feel more reasonable for me. So first you have A, which I think stands for athlete. You can pretty much call yourself a semi-pro or even a pro if they don't have an opens category in that specific tournament if you're playing A's. If you play B's, it stands for but I don't really know what to expect. There's some people who play A's who also play B's, and there's some people who play C's who also plays B's. So you know you're gonna be playing a pretty high level, but it really is a coin toss. C's stands for crashing out, because honestly, you're probably gonna crash out in C's. It definitely has the most variable skill level. Plus, I feel like there are just so many people who sign up for C specifically because they think it's very intermediate. But because it's very intermediate, it means you get the lower intermediate and the high intermediate / advanced people all kind of being consolidated into C, so you really don't know what the hell is happening. If you play D's, it stands for damn, I wish I signed up for a different level. Because I think this level has the most sandbaggers, so people who are definitely better than D's that are still playing D's because they may have reached semifinals and finals but have just been too exhausted to actually win, or they just want to get that dub so they keep playing D's so that they can medal and place every single time. If you play E's, it stands for expectations. I have none. Now you're probably gonna get the least sandbagging in E's in my opinion, just because people who play D's or above don't necessarily want to be in E's. On the flip side, since E is the lowest level, you're going to get beginners to a medium intermediate level, which is also very confusing because that's too broad of a category to fit everyone in. You can let me know in the comments if you feel differently, and I think a lot of tournaments are run a little bit differently. It very much depends on the tournament directors and how much they know about the people who are coming into these tournaments, because then they might be able to regulate some of this more. We're here. We're definitely a bit early. I think it's like 6:40 right now, and our match time is 7:30. Check-in by 7. They want you to check in like 30 minutes early or so, which is proper, which is good. I had to frantically get some birds, some of those cats, because I don't really have like tournament. I realized, oh, they use tournament shuttlecock, so you kind of need to like adhere to that or you're an asshole. And I'm sure there's going to be assholes who don't do it. But what am I feeling right now? A little nervous, a little annoyed because I was stuck in traffic for a really long time. So I'm thinking like, I don't know how much warm-up time we're going to have. I don't know if we can even go inside really. It's kind of all up in the air so far. So 3 days, that's a lot of badminton though. So we'll see how my body holds up with all of it. I really need to just pee though. So I'm hoping they let people in to use their facilities, at least their bathrooms. And I don't know where my partner is. I messaged him, so I mean, I'm early, not gonna forget about it, but we'll see.
I need your ID.
So this is what you've all been waiting for, the gameplay video for our very first C match and the only game that we played on the first day. Now I don't want to give away too many spoilers, I will let you guys decide how we did, But I will say that this is probably not the most exciting match to watch. Both pairs, both me and the opponents, definitely were having a bit of nerves, so it just felt like a much slower paced game with more mistakes sprinkled here and there. So I'm not gonna say it's any of our finest works, nor does it showcase the best badminton that any of us have ever played before. I will say the gameplay probably looks a little bit better than the $5 racket video, so if you're basing my skills off of that, you might be a little bit surprised. One of my goals for this first game was just to get used to the conditions, because I haven't played in this gym in probably over 5 years, so I wanted to figure out the lighting, the speed of the shuttle, among other things. For example, I felt like the bird was very fast, and the conditions were more humid than usual. It was an all-day tournament for the 3 days, so I think with the accumulation of people in the gym and everyone playing all the time, it made the conditions very warm, very humid, and it made the shuttle speed a lot faster. So I was hitting a lot out in the back line, and just the connections didn't really line up for me in the beginning. It's like this one, that was really far, and I felt like I barely touched it. I wasn't loving how close the score was for the first half of the game, but this was due to more unforced errors than anything else. Once we reached the halfway point of the match, the momentum shifted to our favor. We started making less unforced errors and controlled the rallies much better, causing more pressure and evidently more unforced errors in our opponent's game. The pace of the rally seemed a bit faster than they would have preferred as well, so that was a definite advantage for us. I'm a bit bummed though that we were getting more of our points on the short rallies instead of longer rallies, just because long rally winners make better content for me. But I'm being a bit selfish and should be happy about our performance. We maintained a pretty big lead and finally ended the first game with a bit of extra confidence. Now, this second game was a bit weird, mainly for me because I really haven't been playing tournament games, aka I've usually only been playing one-set games. So, if you lose, you get off the court, and if you win, you stay because court time is precious. So mentally, I'm not really sure how to go into these second games. Am I supposed to be more confident and wrap things up quickly, or does that create more pressure if we do go to a third game? The only thing I can really say about this game is that I'm glad that we were finally in front of the camera, because this angle is much better than being on the other side of the court. Besides that, the game plan was the same, but the opponents came in with a bit more vigor to try and take this second game, which is to be expected.
I don't know, they keep going more matches, but people are taking like a while to check in.
Once again, it was the second part of the game that really solidified things, as the mistakes crept in on our opponent's side, while we were playing our game and staying consistent and on attack as much as possible.
You got a good laugh out of that? Why are you laughing? You're gonna rotate. Oh, damn.
If we let up, the opponents definitely could have made a comeback. So I'm glad we solidified our strategy before the tournament and decided to play a more ultra attacking game style.
Don't make no funny faces anymore. How old did you think I was? Oh, hell no. So pre-COVID, I trained at Synergy. Oh well, I started in the dope class for the first time, my dance class, and I met Jonathan. Yo, this is like, no, he was younger than me. Wait, so you still remember Marco? I don't remember what
I really went full throttle Super Saiyan Tokyo Drift on those last 4 points though, because it was starting to get a bit too close for comfort, and I didn't want to let up on the gas and go into a third. And luckily, it worked. My dreams came true, mission accomplished, positive aura. We won, we got the dub, let's go. A little bit of talk about the gameplay. I wasn't necessarily nervous, but because it was my first professional, but actually tournament game in over 7 years, there were definitely some nerves. But the unforced errors, there were more. I wouldn't say it necessarily turned the tides of the game or made that much of a difference, but definitely I think the mental and the nerves were having a little bit more effect, and the score, it looks like it's a breeze on paper, but I would say like for the first half of each game we were very much neck and neck until they kind of broke a little more mentally compared to us. Me being more of an attacking player now definitely helped too. We stayed on attack more, and I think that pressure really deteriorated their gameplay and their style. I don't necessarily want to go to 3 games for every single match, and I definitely didn't want to do it for round 1. I just wanted to win and make sure that I didn't crash out, because it happens, right? As I said before, it totally happens to everyone, even professionals, but for my first tournament in such a long time, I didn't want to crash out so early, so whew, we are good with that. I feel like there's a stress that is released from my shoulders. I mean, they're still a little tight. Next time on Badminton Matoka, we're not playing just 1 game, but 2 games in a row. Our second C's game, as well as our very first B's game, which is going to be a challenge. These games are nothing like the previous game. They're fast, they're high-paced, and they are exciting to watch. So make sure to stay tuned. Watch me pop the F off.